And we are live. Welcome back to another episode. Catching up with Coach. The Raptors made me look like a dummy a little bit on this West Coast trip. Kind of deserve it. You went into the West Coast trip with all the injuries they had. No 7-footer. They were missing two starters for a chunk of it. One of them being 7 foot, the other being when he plays, they have a very good record in R.J. Barrett. They're missing Jacoby Walter, who's made some starts this year and playing very well. And then the basically CMB also get hurt in that time span as well. Going into the West Coast trip, which is always difficult, if you told me we were going to come out 2-3, I would have been satisfied with it, honestly. When I looked at the schedule for the road trip, I thought to myself, you know what? We got to go get Sacramento. They're terrible. Let's go win that game. Golden State was a bit of a toss up, but with Jimmy Butler getting hurt the night before, tearing his ACL, you knew you had a little bit of momentum coming in. And quite honestly, Golden State's pretty small, so it's just hard to play against Steph Curry in their home building. But the Raptors went in and took care of business. They went into Sacramento and took care of business. They went into Portland and took care of business. And I thought Donovan Clingan was going to have a big night just feasting on the boards. And he kind of did, but he missed some open bunnies too. He's got some work to do. But mind you, they had Denny Avdia out. Scoot was out. Thibault was out. Mind you, again, I think we still have injuries too. So it works on both sides. But the Raptors went in and took care of business against the Portland Trailblazers. And then the big game yesterday. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the champs. 37-10 they were yesterday. They are now 37-11. The Toronto Raptors took them down in their home building, the champs. The Toronto Raptors are now 10 games above 500. They held Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to under 25 points. That's impressive because he's probably going to win MVP again. They had a big game from Emmanuel Quickley, who on this West Coast trip has probably played the best basketball of his career. He heard all the trade rumors, and I'm not going to take myself out of this as well. You know, the contract is the contract at the end of the day, but boy, he looks like he's living up to it now. He had a historic night against Golden State. I think he shot 80% from the field, 40 points, 10 assists. He had a night like put him up there with Wilt Chamberlain. Something crazy with the field goal percentage and the points and the assists. Unbelievable. He shot did he miss 1 3, I think? I think it's like 8 of 9 from 3 or 9 of 10 or 7 of 8, something ridiculous like that. So Quickley has been on a heater on this West Coast trip. He's arguably been their best player. I would say I'd give him their best offensive player for sure. Obviously, defensively, it's Scotty without question. But for all the noise that Quickley has heard, to fight through it, to keep going, and to prove, like, you know what, I'm worthy of that contract. I am the starting point guard of this team. People can say this, that, or the other about my ability to be a floor general. Well, you know what? He's been playing this game lately. He's been shooting the basketball very well. It's not like he's not passing the basketball. And Quickley was named Player of the Week. Eastern Conference Player of the Week, probably for the first time in his career. I don't know that for sure, for certain, but I'm taking a guess it might be. His numbers over the last 4 games this week: 25 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 61% from the field, 62% from 3, 95% from the free throw line. Those are incredible numbers that it's definitely warranted for someone to get Player of the Week. So for all the noise that Quickley has heard, and certainly Scotty and RJ have heard the noise too over the last couple of years, kudos to Quickley for fighting through it, because he looks phenomenal the last few games. I did make comments back earlier in the season about the importance he is to this team. And I took the contract aside. I just took it aside to say, you know what? He's got the skill set that this team needs because we don't have a lot of shooting right now. Quickly has that. I mean, he's career 36, 38% three-point shooter. I think the numbers went up on, I think he's around 37% right now from three, just over these last few games. Get him up to 38 to 39%. You're cooking with something then. I hope that this confidence or these stretching games will give him the confidence that he's going to need over the next few games. I know they're going to be playing, I think they play the Knicks on Wednesday. There's going to be some big, big games coming up. And he's proven a lot of people wrong over this stretch. We'll see if it continues because, again, they need it to continue, by the way. They need his outside shooting. In a league full of perimeter shooting, it's hard to be last and succeed. And the Raptors are 30th in three-point percentage. And they have been for a little while. You don't have a lot of shooting. You got some mid-range shooting, certainly, with Ingram, Scotty at times. Now with Jacoby back and Grady getting more minutes. Grady, most of his points are coming at the rim, which is good to see. But I'm just, shout out to Emmanuel quickly, man. Bringing it. Can't say anything bad about his performance. I also like to go on to, yes, this West Coast trip. As great as quickly as been, Scotty has more or less also carried this team through the West Coast trip with some big blocks, big rebounds, big games, basically, he's been having. Scotty with the big block on Chet Holmgren last night. And obviously the two are both competing for Defensive Player of the Year honors. You know, Chet's really good defensively. He's also 7'2", which helps, or 7'3". I'm not so much saying this as a homer take. I'm trying to be objective, but objective in the sense that I watch Raptor games more so than OKC games. Scotty's guarding 1 through 5 at times. Scotty most times is the biggest guy on the floor at 6'8". Scotty also has a lot of influence over the offense, like a big piece, big connecting piece. So he's got a lot more responsibilities, I would argue, than Chet does. And to see Scotty's defense this year, I think he's leading the league in stocks right now. I think he's got a couple more over Tyrese Maxey, I believe. Scotty needs to be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversations. He's going to be an all-star, as I had predicted a few weeks back. I don't know how you can deny him being an all-star. He's not going to start, but you can't deny him being an all-star. He's making a case for Defensive Player of the Year. Will he get it? We'll see. Maybe. I think he should be on a short list. And will he make All-NBA? Again, we'll see. But I think Defensive Player of the Year, definitely all defense is going to be there. We'll see about Defensive Player of the Year, though. But I can't say enough about Scotty. I've said for 2 months now, he's playing the best basketball of his career. Part of this is due to their record right now, and some of this is just his consistent play. This is what we've been looking for. Some of us, maybe it's me included as well, can sometimes people can get the impression like we could be Scotty haters. No, you gave the guy the franchise tag. Fine, that's great that you did. But that comes with added responsibilities and added expectations. He is meeting those expectations now. That is the difference. And getting a guy like Brandon Ingram on this team, which complements his game to a T, has been key for not only the success for the team, but his success on the court, but also just his play, his defensive play. It's been phenomenal all year. You cannot ask for any more than what you're getting from Scotty Barnes defensively. He's playing undersized most nights against centers. He's on wings. He's on guards. He's guarding 1 through 5. Not easy. So I give him all the credit in the world. I think he's going to be an all-star. I hope he's in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. It's really encouraging to see as a Raptors fan and as someone who has watched this team rebuild over the last few years from the end of the championship chemistry that we had with Siakam and OG and Fred to a new wave of Raptors with Scotty, with RJ, now with Ingram, with Quickly, with Grady, now with CMB. We have a new generation of Raptor players. And we get a chance, to be in the upper echelon in the East. There's a chance. So I'll go on to the next topic of conversation. And that is Sabonis. A lot has changed on this West Coast trip. I think the narrative around Sabonis has changed. There is an idea with getting his skill set could help improve this team. There is a basketball sense to getting him in Darko's offense. And just in general, having a center who's physical would really help this team. This team, though, since this West Coast trip, is playing some of its best basketball of the season with one guy over 6'9". I don't know who's taller, Scotty or Mamu. Maybe you're like the same height. Obviously, you need a 7-footer. I was trying to explain that to people I was watching Sampson and Lewis over the weekend on Raptors Republic podcast. And I think it was Lewis or Sampson, I can't remember which one, had basically said, well, you need a 7-footer because you need more tools in the toolbox to match up, which I 100% agree. It's not so much of having a 7-footer to have that guy play 35 minutes a night, because I don't know if that's going to happen. I think what this team is going to do down the stretch of most games, depending on how one of them plays, Scotty's going to be paired with one of Mamu or CMB at the end of the games. Depending on matchups, it's probably going to be CMB most nights. Mamu could be there to stretch the floor, which is kind of what a lot of us have been saying for a few years to get him a stretch 5. So I'm glad that Bobby kind of made that move eventually with Scotty to go get the stretch 5, which Mamu's been playing really well, by the way, on this whole West Coast trip too. Mamu was great, especially against Portland. He was very good, and Sacramento. So Sabonis, is he a need? It's looking more and more that he's not necessarily a need right now, because we all know that to get Sabonis, you have to trade RJ Barrett. You probably get to trade a first-round pick. Sacramento people think they deserve 3 first-round picks for Sabonis. That's delusional. You're not getting 3. I don't even think you're getting 2 for Sabonis. Obviously, Pirtle's contract has to go in that deal, but you're also getting RJ. I think that's the framework the Raptors want, but here's the thing. Let's just say it is RJ and Pirtle on the first-round pick, even this year's first-round pick. And then in return, we get Domantas Sabonis, and I'm guessing Keon Ellis. We're still going to be in the luxury tax next year with that, which means you probably can't bring back Mamu. Depending on how this front office views that as a priority, it could be hard to make that deal now. So we probably go back to the original drawing board with Bobby, and he's probably going to work around the margins a bit more on the trade market. Bringing in a guy like Nick Richards or Daron Sharp, maybe Yves Missi. I don't know if they're going to go for Sabonis. It's a major decision to make, because the Raptors this year Take away the 1-4 start to the season. The Raptors are 17-3 with RJ Barrett. If you take away the 1-4 start, 17-3. Some people say he's a flawed player. Obviously, most players are flawed. But it's going to be really tough to trade RJ Barrett, I think, for this front office. One, there's a PR reason why it might be hard because there's a lot of RJ Barrett fans out there, including myself. My whole notion is if you're not going to extend him or you have no plans at all to extend him, then you have to trade him. Now, could that be this trade deadline? Could that be this summer? Could that be next trade deadline? It could be any of them. You see, there was more of a need to do that with OG or Siakam because you had no desire to bring them back, especially OG. There was no chance that he was coming back. With RJ, there actually is a chance that you could bring him back. You've built a big three with RJ, Ingram, and Scotty. A big three that is 17-3 when they all play. Very interesting. If you look at the math of 17-3, do you want to keep that core together? Obviously, RJ would probably have to take a bit of a pay cut if he wants to do that. Because on the open market, I don't know if he'll get more than what the Raptors could offer him. Again, he's going to have his most value in this market, which I agree with people when they say that. But do you really want to break up 17-3? Are you really sure about Jacoby and Grady? I have been on the Grady bandwagon. I watched how I said that. I've been really on the Grady bandwagon to get more time. He's finally getting more time. I think in his last in his last 7 games, if this is correct, he's averaging 11 points, 4 rebounds, about an assist, and I think he's shooting around. Yeah. So Grady Dick in his last 7 games, get this, shooting 38% from 3 in his last 7 games. True shooting percentage of 65%. Field goal percentage of 54%. And in one of those games, he didn't even score. He didn't score against the Lakers. He had 21 against the Pacers, 15 against the Clippers, 10 against Golden State, 11 against Sacramento, 10 against Portland, and 10 last night against Oklahoma City Thunder. I pleaded to say Grady Dick needs more time. He's a rhythm player. Give him minutes. Give him more time. You got all of these injuries right now. Get the kid's confidence up. Take a different approach than what you're doing because it's not working with Grady. Darko gave him 1 start in there, finally, and he's playing him more minutes. Grady had 30 minutes against Indiana, 27 against the Clippers, 23 against Golden State, about 20 against Sacramento, 24 against Portland, and 21 last night. So we're trying in that 7-game span, he's averaging about 23 minutes a night. This is great. He's producing. Keep playing him. Obviously, if the numbers are going to go down or not improve with more minute production, then that's a different story. But the minutes are going up. The production is going up. The efficiencies are going up. Finally, you're giving him a chance. And by giving him a chance, the team is now better. And that's what this is all about, is team, team, team. So I'm glad that the coaching staff is giving Grady more of an opportunity to play. And moving forward, because the trade deadline is next week, you're probably looking at a big that it's going to possibly come in, but it's not going to be one of the major bigs available. It's going to be one of the, I would say, lower contract bigs, but just someone who's serviceable. If you want to stick with this core, I think that's fine. Just 1 7-footer who can run up and down the floor and walk and breathe. It's probably going to be helpful. Okay, and the last point that I'm going to make, and I hope it's in the comments more so often, contenders or pretenders? Raptors are now third, I believe, in the Eastern Conference. Sole possession of third. Not far back from second place either. A lot of injuries, including the Raptors. Tell me in the comments what you think. Is this team for real? Legit? Contending? Could end up in a conference finals right now? Or are they pretenders? Or is it, I don't know what this team is yet. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. So I hope that you put it in the comments what you think. Anyways, that's going to be it for our show. Thank you very much. Please take care. Go Raptors. Scotty for DPOY. Take care.